bad. Hey, they're good.
Let's get the weekend on our program. Well said at GMFB, Bolt 24, our sponsor, as we hit the lead block. And welcome in Sarah Walsh.
Lead block, Starboard.
He's handling the Chiefs all week. Omar, the Chiefs looking to go and run it back. What's the biggest challenge to that?
Well, hi, Kay. Andy Reid saying this entire year has been a challenge, obviously, for everyone. And with that in mind, this run might be a little sweeter, certainly unique. He was asked recently if he sensed any fatigue from his team, having gone the distance in back-to-back seasons. He says he doesn't see any of that with his team. What he's been impressed with is their Chiefs team responding to the challenge each and every week, getting everyone's best shot. And instead of questioning each other down the stretch of games when they face adverse situations or folding on one another, they've stayed focused and delivered when it matters most. He said that's a credit to the front office and the players that they've brought into the locker room that are really committed to playing and winning for one another. They've won 12 straight games that Patrick Mahomes has started, 23 of 24. And if they make it 24 of 25, they'll be the first team to repeat as champions since Tom Brady's Patriots 16 years ago. For more on that, let's send it down to Sarah Walsh in Tampa.
Yeah, Tom Brady knows something about going back-to-back, and for all the records that he owns, and it's virtually all of them, at least it feels that way, there is still history out there for him to grab. He could become the first quarterback to win a Super Bowl, or 6 of them, with one team, and then go to another team and win it in his first year there. It is all part of what Brady calls a magical year here in Tampa, and he credits a lot of that success to Bruce Arians. He calls him a great leader and a great man, and says he's so good at his job because he's such an effective communicator. Now, GM Jason Light told us not only does he get along well with Arians, he also argues well with Arians. There is no arguing that this has been a dream season for a Tampa team that went just 7-9 a year ago. But Bruce Arians tells us this will not be a success unless it all ends with rings on their fingers, Kay.
Thank you so much, Sarah, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. We've got Omar with the Chiefs in Kansas City. They, of course, head out late this week to the host city, the Big Guava, as I like to call it. Thanks, you guys, so much. We'll get the guys in here. Nate, let's talk pass catchers. You were one for 11 years in the NFL. Who has the edge, Chiefs or Bucs?
I'm going to have to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, I know it seems like it's coming up everything Kansas City, but it's just because they're so special. You know, I'll let KB touch on the tight end position, but for me, it's about Tyreek Hill. You know, we oftentimes talk about wide receivers, and we're used to this statuesque framed wide receiver. I mean, heck, I played with a couple of them, right? Randy Moss and Calvin Johnson. I thought this right here is the prototype. If you look up wide receiver in the dictionary, it's going to say roughly around 6'2", hopefully 6'4". He could run a 4.3. He could jump a 44-inch vert. That's what they're supposed to look like. Tyreek Hill has reset that narrative, and he can do it all. He came in the league as this very explosive guy. We said, oh, well, he's going to be a gadget guy. You can put him in the slot, and then he'll do some returns. But then he slowly but surely started working on every aspect of being a wide receiver, and he is dominant. The thing that makes him so special within this offense is that even when he's not getting the ball, he's disturbing the defense. Just think about that for a second. There's certain wide receivers, if they're not getting the rock, you can care less where they are because you can dedicate one cornerback to them, and they're taken care of. But when Tyreek Hill isn't getting the ball and they use him as a quote-unquote decoy, he's taking the top clean off the coverage. And if you don't have multiple guys, that's one dude underneath, one over the top, I mean, bracketing this guy like an NCAA tournament, then he's going to get that ball. He's one of the few decoys in the league where my guy, Patrick Mahomes, is dropping back saying, well, I know I want him to take the top off so I can hit another guy underneath. But if they dare not double my dude while he's running this deep post or
bombs away
route, I'm going to let this thing go. So for me, it's Tyreek Hill and the complementary players on that Kansas City Chiefs offense.
Yeah, no, Tyreek's been great, and we always say pick your poison here with the Chiefs, and if it's not Tyreek, it seems like Hardman or Watkins or Byron Pringle or Demarcus Robinson makes a huge play. We had Kenny Golladay on the show last week, and we asked him, of all these great receivers and pass catchers, who do you think is going to have the biggest performance? And he said a name that it's almost comical now to be like, really, I forgot about. He said Antonio Brown. He's like, AB is in the Super Bowl, and Antonio Brown is a guy I'd be concerned about. And you start looking at that Tampa receiving core, and it's not just AB. It's Godwin, and it's Evans, and it's Scooter Miller, and now it's Tyler Johnson, who caught the pass of the season against the Saints.
Yeah.
And then I think about what they're up against. The most underrated part of this Chiefs dynasty, and it is a dynasty already in its second season, the most underrated part is that defensive backfield. And I gotta say that I'm going with the Chiefs with the edge because I think the Chiefs defensive backfield can shut down this Tampa Bay wide receiver core. Do you know about L'Jarius Sneed? Can we talk L'Jarius Sneed? The need for Sneed. L'Jarius Sneed, number 38, is having one of the best rookie seasons you will ever see from a cornerback in the NFL. He was a shutdown corner in year number 1. And of all the corners in the league that came out in the draft this year, he's a 4th-round pick. L'Jarius Sneed was Pro Football Focus's number 1 rated corner. You go through the names of Sneed and Breland and Sorensen, and then you get down to guys like, Tyrann Mathieu, and of course what you're getting from Fenton and Thornhill. It is a really good defensive backfield, and L'Jarius Sneed might be the best of all of them. We can't just praise Tyrann Mathieu all day long, and then when we talk about this matchup, not say he's going to make a difference. He'll make a huge difference. There he is. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs defensive backfield is the most underrated unit in this entire game, and I think they will be just fine against Evans, Godwin, AB, Scooter Miller, and whoever else you throw at them. I'm going with the Chiefs with the edge, and it's not because they're better on offense. It's because I think their defensive backfield is the real deal.
Peter feels the need for Sneed, and I feel like Mav and Goose high-fiving each other. Peter, a beautiful opus to the great L'Jarius Sneed as we talk about which pass catcher will be better. L'Jarius Sneed has something to say about that. But hold on, what is it, Peter? I'm sorry, say it L'Jarius.
L'Jarius.
Right.
Get the name right.
L'Jarius. L'Jarius. How could I ever mess up that name? I won't mess up this one. Kelsey. The way I look at this roster, I think, or really both these rosters, I think there's as many as 8 Hall of Famers in this Super Bowl, especially if you count Andy Reid, which we do. I think 8. No fewer than 5, but as high as 8. And I think amongst all of them, I think right now Travis Kelce is the best player. That doesn't mean he's a better player than Mahomes or Brady overall. I just think right now he's playing better at his position than anybody else is, and I'm going to stick to it. And here's a hypothetical. If on Saturday night before the game in Tampa, Florida, the devil came up from hell and went to Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator for the Buccaneers, and said, let's make a deal, Todd. Said, I will give you right now on the table, Travis Kelce, 8 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown. Would you take it? Would you take 8 for 92 and a touchdown? I think Bowles has to take it. That's how good Kelce is. 8 for 92 and a touchdown is a huge day, but it's the kind of day that you're like, if Kelce just does that, I think we have a shot to win this game. Last time around, he had 82 yards, no touchdown, and they almost won. I think he is the best player in this game, and we've probably put our brains in pretzels for the last 2 weeks trying to say, what are they going to do about Kelce? When Peter breaks out the shirt that says pick your poison, you'd pick any of them. You pick all of them before